What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into Ghost Rider issue number 1. Celebrating 50 freaking years of Ghost Rider, we are hopping into a story with Johnny Blaze. And the last time we saw Johnny, he was active as Ghost Rider after giving up the throne to Hell. But this story seems to be showing us a Johnny Blaze who has the perfect life. He has a wife. He has 2 children, a job as a mechanic, and living in one of the safest towns that ever existed. The only issue is, Johnny Blaze is not doing well. Plagued by nightmares, plagued by visions of horrific things, and a spirit on the inside that is begging to be let out. A story written by Benjamin Percy, artwork is by Cory Smith. Be sure to buy the comic, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue number 1, we are picking up with Johnny Blaze. And right now, he is sitting down having a discussion with his therapist, a Dr. Halligan. And right now, Johnny, he's not in great shape, having a giant scar on his head. This scar is obviously causing him huge headaches, or what he calls a headache, because it is constant, it is ongoing, and it never stops. But with this wound, it feels like something is trying to get in. Or maybe something is trying to get out. And then he starts describing what his nights are like. Now, on most nights when he is able to drink himself to sleep, his brain goes black like a midnight highway. He finds himself nowhere, on his motorcycle in the darkness. And this continues on until the sun rises the next day. And when he doesn't drink, this is when the flames come. This is when the monsters in the night are prying at the door. This is when the nightmares, they find him, sweating through his sheets, screaming himself awake, swinging at shadows. At this point, Johnny is beginning to recognize he is not safe to be around. Not for his kids, not for his wife. And so most nights, he drinks. He drinks these demons away and he keeps them at bay. Because if he has to choose between being nowhere and living those nightmares, he will drink every single night away, because that is where he is the happiest. Nowhere. And he knows that he shouldn't be like this, because as it stands, he has everything that a person could possibly want. He's married to Roxanne, to his childhood sweetheart. He is raising 2 beautiful kids, and he lives in Hayden's Fall, a safe town, a good town. They have a roof over their head, they have groceries in their fridge. What more could he possibly ask for? But something is always gnawing at him, prying and waiting to get its chance to get out. But with Johnny now being done sharing, believing that that's enough for the day, they go ahead, they call it, and Johnny heads out. But before he leaves, his doctor makes him say one thing that he always needs to repeat, that his name is Johnny Blaze. There are no such things as monsters. And a few months ago, he wrecked his bike, he rolled 50 yards, he had fractured his skull, had a severe concussion, bad swelling of the brain, and 2 surgeries later. He has memory gaps, anxiety, and paranoia. Little things annoy him. He lashes out at the people he cares about. But he believes that he is going to get better. And so Johnny, getting his prescription, he heads out for the day. But the one thing he lies about is the hallucinations. Every day when he is walking around, he sees hallucinations of the most horrific monsters, taking average, normal day things like a dog coming up to him and seeing nothing but a hellhound of a beast, turned inside out and looking ferocious. And so Johnny Blaze is truly struggling, fighting all of his mental illness, fighting all of his physical ailments. He's trying just day to day to get by, with our local police officer coming up to him and letting him know that his neighbor's dog, it was found brutally murdered and shoved into the mailbox. Of course, Johnny, he denies knowing anything about this. Johnny not really focused on any of that going on. What he is more concerned about is how his mind keeps playing tricks on him. How he keeps seeing these monsters. He keeps seeing these shadows. He always has these hallucinations. And so he can't trust his own eyes. Finding himself constantly repeating the mantra that the therapist had given him, hoping, just hoping, that this will make the hallucinations go away. The problem with Johnny is that no matter how much he loves his life, no matter how great things are, he cannot help but feel that there is some kind of disconnect. But in all of this craziness, underneath the surface, he feels the rumbling. He hears the sound of that motorcycle engine. It calls to him. And though he tries to ignore this humming, there is a world out there that won't let him ever have any peace. Now this is where we jump over to the FBI headquarters, and we are picking up with the director. The director has brought in Agent Talia Warroad, because with S.H.I.E.L.D. being dissolved, their agents, or at least some of their agents, have been reassigned to other government agencies. And Warroad, she has been signed to the Supernatural Division of the FBI. And she lets the director know that over the last few months, there has been a lot of supernatural activity. This growth has been exponential. And so what she is here doing is looking for funds so she can set up her whole gig on the road. Be able to track down all of this supernatural stuff anywhere she finds it. Warroad is definitely going to find some resistance though. This is the FBI, this isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. She is no longer a one-woman monster hunter. She's not just given a discretionary fund and sent along her way. The FBI, they do things differently. They have paperwork, they have to go through all of the proper channels. But Warroad also doesn't want to play by this diplomatic bureaucracy. What she wants is to be given everything she needs so she can do her job. That job is hunting monsters. And that is what's going to take us back to Johnny Blaze, currently working at his mechanic shop where he works with his father-in-law. The two of them, they went into business. They created Crash and Blaze, the auto mechanic shop. And as he sits here and talks to his father-in-law, he can't help but feel and vent everything that is currently going on. But his father-in-law, he reminds him that he's a good man, that he is a good husband, he is a good business partner, and that time is the only thing that is truly going to help him heal. And while this conversation is going on the outskirts of town, we have a drifter that is coming in. And as there are some kids playing on the baseball field, he goes over to them and we see him instigate some anger, some true evil inside of one of these kids. So much so, he grabs the baseball bat and he goes over and beats the living crap out of one of the other kids. And our drifter, noticing that this place, it's beautiful. You have apple pie, baseball, fireflies on the 4th of July, the whole 9 yards. But underneath the surface, there is evil, there is deception, there is hatred, there is murder. And if you give it enough time, the truth will always come out. Now, picking back up with Johnny, he is currently sitting inside of his therapist's office, and right now, he is having these hallucinations in real time, trying to ignore them, not letting the therapist know that he can see them. This stuff is literally driving Johnny absolutely insane. But he is also talking about how Roxanne is concerned about him, terrified what will happen if he ever gets on that motorcycle again, not liking the fact that he keeps that motorcycle around. And before he is able to continue on any further, this is where everything in the doctor's office, it turns into hideous monsters, with Johnny getting up saying that he will kill them, quickly snapping back and seeing that it is the doctor standing right in front of him, recognizing that he almost just brutally murdered his therapist. He needs to get out of here. But as he goes home, he sees everything in absolute chaos. Monsters everywhere, people slaughtered. Blood is filling the streets. And the only thing he can say to himself is that there are no such things as monsters. Making his way home as quickly as possible, he goes directly for the whiskey, trying to drown out all of the hallucinations. Drinking as fast and as quickly as possible, Roxanne is trying to figure out what is wrong with him. But for Johnny, things are so chaotic right now. He doesn't know which way to look, he doesn't know what to think. But the doorbell rings, telling Johnny that he is in no state to answer the door. She goes to answer it. And this is where we are introduced to Zeb the Magician. As Zeb goes to grab Roxanne, Johnny freaks out, telling him to let go of his wife. Zeb lets him know that this is not your wife. This is not your town. Zeb, he is a scout sent by a group of night magicians, and his job was to find Johnny Blaze, letting him know that he is living a lie, that he has chains on him, not knowing who is responsible, but he tells him it is time that he shrugs off these chains. Before he can finish that sentence, we see the police car, it comes out of left field, and it pins Zeb directly against a tree, with our police officer telling everyone that there is nothing to see here, that everyone can go home. Zeb reaching out with his hand, telling Johnny that when he went dark, the world went to hell. And this is where Johnny, he gets shown everything. Shows him the innocents that have suffered while he has been away. Reminding him that the world needs him. They need the spirit of vengeance. With Zeb turning into a crow and flying off, everyone in the town is trying to convince Johnny that none of this is real. He needs to go back inside where it is nice and safe. All of them saying that they are going to take care of him. His wife and 2 children standing before him, looking menacing, looking terrifying, looking like something out of The freaking Shining. He takes the butcher knife that is in his hand. He cuts off the finger of his wife, grabs the ring that she had on her hand, takes one good look at it, and throws it into the flames. And from that, a giant fireball, it reaches up to the sky, shaping of a skull. It comes back down on top of Johnny Blaze, becoming one with Johnny Blaze. This is where we see Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider, he has one question. Who did this to me? Who caged me in here? And though some of these creatures, they still try to continue on with this whole game, Johnny Blaze isn't here anymore. There is only Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider, he starts burning everything. Some of these demons recognizing this, saying that whatever he does to them, it won't be nearly as bad as what he will do to them. And as Ghost Rider begins to tear all of them apart, he is trying to get anybody to answer him, trying to figure out who he is. And so with him dispatching of all of these creatures, Ghost Rider heads over to the garage and he pulls out his bike. Hopping on his motorcycle, we have the spirit of vengeance riding again. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now for me, I thoroughly enjoyed this story. Someone has been keeping him hidden, keeping Johnny Blaze under this facade, taking a magician to free him, free his mind, and free the spirit of vengeance. And now that he is free, he has one goal in mind: to give vengeance to the innocent and find vengeance for himself. Whoever trapped him, whoever put those chains on him, they are now the hunted. The artwork in this was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, mind-bending artwork. Really dropping you into the mind of this psychosis. And Benjamin Percy, he had said that he was pretty much like listening to Black Sabbath while trying to write good stories for Ghost Rider. And I think he is also a great pick because he loves horror. He loves all of that John Carpenter stuff, so on and so forth. And so we're getting to see what Benjamin Percy can do when he's going weird, when he's going crazy, when he's going supernatural. And with his amount of passion that is going into writing this story, I am 100% on board to see what he can bring to the table. And one last tidbit, the variant covers are freaking amazing for this issue number 1. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.